Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing the A13 from Galaxy and also the A32 from Samsung Galaxy. So we're going to cover the pricing and also these, the performance, battery life, or the things you need to know when you're purchasing these guys. But I really like the A13, but what's really cool about the A32 is that it actually comes with all your accessories inside of the box. So you will get your wall brick and charging brick, your cable and charging brick in here. The things about the A13 is that this year they stopped. You can see the box is much thinner when we compare them side by side, and you can see it's a lot thinner. So look at the difference when it comes to the sizes, right? It's going to be a lot different. You can see that the box, wait, what's going on? Okay, there we go. And you can see right here, all we get is the type C to type C and the new unboxing experience, as well as the SIM card. So you're missing the brick, you're missing obviously the headphones. We're getting 15 watts charging speeds on the A32, and we're getting 25 watts charging speeds on the A13. So it's going to be a little bit faster when you charge the A13 compared to the A32. Now, another thing, they're both going to have the same size battery, 5,000 milliamp hours when it comes to both of these batteries. And you can see, we're going to get into the overall, basically how these guys perform and how they look side by side when it comes to the displays, because we are getting the AMOLED panel on the Samsung Galaxy A32. So I just want to throw that out there. But you can see the camera setups are pretty much very similar, identical. But the camera lenses seem to be a little bit bigger on the A13. We get a 64 megapixel main shooter on the A32, and we get a 50 megapixel main shooter on the A13. So, that's the biggest difference when it comes to that. Now, as far as unlocking these, we're going to get a side-mounted fingerprint sensor for the A13, which is going to give you some really fast speeds when you unlock it. Now, when you take a look at the facial unlock for this guy, it's going to actually be pretty responsive as well. You could just look at it and it works pretty much every single time. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock the Galaxy A32 real quick, and you can see I'm restarting it now, so it's just booting back up. But this guy actually has an in-display fingerprint sensor, but just keep in mind it's not the optical in-display fingerprint sensor that you would see on the flagships. It's not like anything sophisticated when it comes to like the speeds, because it's going to be a pretty decent speed on the in-display fingerprint sensor, but it's not going to impress you when it comes to like overall speed. So let me just do a quick test so you can see what I'm talking about. So if I put my finger here, you do have to hold that for a number of seconds. You can see there's a little bit of lag when you're unlocking it on the fingerprint sensor right here. So it will register, but then you have to keep it on there for like 2 seconds or something like that. And then sometimes you still get missed touches. Like right now, I'm getting a ton of missed touches on there, but it still works to unlock. So that's something that I really like, because you get that extra added feature. And the A13 actually has that feature as well. You can see it has the required to keep your eyes open. Same features for the biometrics for the Face ID, which is cool. Now, as far as the display on the A32, it's a AMOLED panel, and it's going to look really beautiful. They're both 20:9 aspect ratio, so I'm going to raise the brightness on both of these things so you can see that they are all the way up. And these are at full brightness. You could see that when I pull down the notification shade, for some reason, you can see that the blacks on here are much darker than on the A13. So that's the difference that you get with an AMOLED panel, a lot deeper blacks. Brighter screen when it comes to the overall output of the brightness. Now, here is where you will notice the biggest difference when it comes to the panels. You can see right here that both go up to, you can see they're both at 480 right now, the 4080p. So let's just pull them all the way up to the top. The A32 actually gets 1440, which is 4K, and the highest we get on the A13 is that 1080p. So you just keep in mind, if you're browsing YouTube on the A32, it's going to be a lot more It's gonna be beautiful on both of the panels, but that AMOLED panel looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't stress that enough. Really minimal chin on the A32 and almost the same exact size chin on the A13. So I just want to compare the displays, but that AMOLED panel is gonna have 411 for the PPI, very high density, and the A13 will have 400 for the PPI, so 11 more for the A32. When they're both going to be really solid. Gorilla Glass 5 on the actual, A13, but it doesn't tell me what the glass is made of on the A32. I would imagine it's Gorilla Glass 3, right? Because both of these guys are going to have Infinity U displays. We have the Infinity V on here and an Infinity U on the A32. So you can see that they both do suffer from a bit of lag, and that's just something that you will notice. Both have one-handed operation, which I really do like using. But let's just go ahead and close this out and jump into the next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to both of these guys when we're comparing them. But if you're still here in the comment section, just type down below, I'm still here, so I know you're still rocking with me. Now, as far as the fingerprint sensors, I prefer the one on the A13. So let's just take a look for you right now. You can see right here, phone unlocked by smart lock. I gotta turn that off. Hold on one second. All right, guys, so I turned the on-body detection from smart lock off. So let's just test out the fingerprints right now on both of these guys, and it's gonna be the A13, I think. So let's just 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was way faster on the A13. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Wow, it's night and day difference, guys. The A13 just blows the A32 away when it comes to the fingerprint sensor. I'm not sure why this fingerprint sensor is extremely slow like this, but just keep that in mind that the A32 in-display fingerprint sensor is not the most reliable in the entire world. It's gonna take a minute for you to unlock that device. All right, so gaming performance on the Galaxy A32 compared to the A13. You got the Helio G80 chip in here, MediaTek Helio G80 chip inside of here. Now you get ultra and smooth graphics, okay? And it's gonna be pretty decent when it's coming over. Let me just turn the speakers up.
For the red team.
Pretty decent here. It does feel really smooth on here. Like when I got that first kill, when I got that first blood, it did feel extremely smooth. And you will notice that you got some pretty decent RAM on here, 4 gigabytes, and you also do get the 128 for the internal storage, right? So just want to throw that out there. And you also do have that ARM Mali G52, which is extremely good for graphics as well. Okay, so here's where Samsung slipped in the golden egg or the golden ticket with the A13, because they gave us an 8nm processing chip with the Exynos 850, but when we look at the Helio G80, this is a 12nm processing chip. So they're both going to be clocked in at 2.0 frequency, but the A13 on paper outperforms the A32, which is the more powerful on paper and overall has a lot more things included, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Smooth and ultra graphics, so it matches that graphics performance on the A32, and so it's not going to be as crazy, but it's going to be just as clean because it's going to give you an 8nm processing chip compared to the 12nm processing chip. So you're going to be getting several improvements on the A13 from the A12 last year, but when you compare it, it does feel pretty decent. It's kind of slow right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but it did impress me the other day, and now let me just turn.
Reloading.
I think it was just like warming up or something, but like I said, you're gonna notice some pretty decent gameplay on this device, and you wouldn't think that because it's their entry-level device.
Enemy down.
So I got that guy finally. So the A32 does have the advantage with the 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the A13 has the advantage with the CPU because it has an 8 nanometer processing chip versus the 12 nanometer processing chip found on the A32, right? So they both have all the sensors pretty much, but we're going to get the ultrasonic proximity sensor for the A32 because of that in-display fingerprint. And we're also going to be getting gyroscopes on board on both of these guys and stuff like that. So as far as the camera setup, I wanted to talk about the camera setup. We do get a 50 megapixel camera setup on the the new A13, and coupled with the wide angle camera as well as the portrait and the macro camera. Now on the A32, we also are getting a really nice camera. It's a 64 megapixel with the 8 ultra wide angle. So that's where we get the upgrade. Well, it's not an upgrade because it's the older phone, but it's still better on paper because we get an 8 megapixel wide angle camera, 5 megapixel ultra, portrait, and 2 megapixel macros. I just said that all wrong. 5 megapixel portrait, 5 megapixel macro, 8 megapixel wide angle, and 64 megapixel main versus the 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel portrait, 5 megapixel wide angle, and 50 megapixel main. The other difference is that we don't get the side navigation bar right here, which is on the A32. You could just swipe out from the side of the device. It's kind of like weird for this device because it's right here, but sometimes you have to there's a certain way you have to do it. I could only do it with like this hand. Let me see. Because it's like right here, but you have to gently, I forgot how you had to do it, but it's literally right here. Let me see if I can long hold it. I'm not sure why it's not recognizing my finger or whatever. There we go. That's the side thing right here that they have on the A32, but they don't have that on the A13. So that's just something that I want to throw out there. But the other thing, if you want to screencast the A32, you can do the smart share feature, the smart view feature, and stuff like that. But you don't get the NFC on this guy, but they gave you the NFC on the A13, and you don't get that smart view feature on this guy. So they both have Dolby Atmos and both have single firing speakers, so it's give or take with both of these things, but they both have similar battery. But obviously the A13 is pushing less power when it comes to you have the AMOLED panel right here that pushes more light through it versus the the TFT display on the A13, which is going to be better for battery optimization. So that's about everything that I want to discuss on this topic right here, because both of these devices are going to be fairly popular when it comes to picking up a new device in 2022. But I just wanted to lead you in the right direction when it came to the overall information that you need before purchasing your next phone or whatever. But as far as the front-facing cameras, obviously they're going to be comparable with the 8 megapixel on the A13 on the front. And then for the A32 on the front, we actually get a 20 megapixel. So the last thing I want to do is just do a quick picture of my face and an object on the rear camera on both. So you can see they both kind of struggle to open up the camera software sometimes, which I do notice on both of these guys, right? Let's go to photo. And let's just take let's go to the portrait mode. And so looking at them to the naked eye, it actually looks better on the A13, but you do get the 20 megapixel on this guy, so it should be better on the A32. But let's just see right now. All right, so I just took that picture. Let me see which one looks better. And in my opinion, it's the A13, even though we get let me just wipe off the front facing camera and take that again, because it shouldn't look better on the A13, but for some reason it does. So let me just do that one more time. All right, now it should be better on the A32. Wow, they look really good. They both look good now, so it's just really close. It depends on your personal preference. Now I just want to show you the 50 megapixel camera versus the 50 megapixel camera. We're going to take a shot of this guy real quick, and then after that I'll wrap up the video. But if you're still here, just say I'm still here down in the comment section so I know that you're still rocking with me, right? But let's take this quick portrait shot of Sasuke. So let's go right here. Ready? Boom. I hit, okay, the shutter button, there's a little bit of shutter lag on here. Let's do that here. And one of the things I hate about shutter lag is if you want to take a picture really quickly of an object, you might miss it because sometimes things move fast, right? And that looks a little bit better on the A32, but honestly, it's really hard to tell the difference. But you can see the 64 megapixel quality here, and then you can see the 50 megapixel quality here. And they both did a really, really good job. So it just depends on your personal preference. But I honestly think that the A13 does match up really well, especially with the slow fingerprint sensor on the A32. But let me know what you guys think about both of these phones, and I'm gonna get right back with you, and I'll check you guys on another video. But make sure you watch another video right after this, and I'll check you guys later. Hit the like button, subscribe, get notified, as well as hitting the bell as well. And also I'll check you guys later. Peace.